What's up guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be teaching you JavaScript for loops. And if you don't know what a JavaScript for loop is, it's basically code that can execute a block of code multiple times. And let's start by creating a simple for loop. So let's write for round brackets and then curly brackets. And now here you can see that we get an error and it says expression expected. So we need to add expressions here, and we actually need to add three. So the first one is going to be our variable, and we can create one inside here. So let's do let I, and let's set it equal to 0. And after we're done with one expression, we're going to add a semicolon. Now the second one is going to be how many times we want our loop to run. So let's set it to run until I is bigger than 5. And so the second one, or sorry, the third one is going to be what we're going to do with our I every time, or sorry, what we're going to do with our variable here every time we run our loop. So we're going to be adding 1 to our I, and let's see what happens when we console log it. When I go back here, you can see that we get nothing, and that's because I messed up, so sorry about that. Whoops, so let's do this, and now we should get this. So 0, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and our code ran 5 times. And if we actually want to say 5, what we could do is change our variable from 0 to 1, and then we're going to add an equal sign here. And let's go over this right now. So we're creating a variable, and we're setting it to equal to 1. And then we're running our code until our variable here is smaller or equal to 5. And then we're just adding 1 to our variable. So now it should run 5 times, and it should also start from 1. So we should see it print out our I 5 times, and starting from 1 to 5. Now let's go back here. And as you can see, it works. And here's how we can actually add a variable that is already created. So let's go up here, create a variable. I'm going to set equal to I2. Or sorry, name it I and then equal to 1. And what we would do here is we would just delete this part, add a semicolon, and then leave it like that. And it still works the same way. And there's obviously a lot of ways in which we can use for loops for, but let's say that I wanted to console log, I don't know, a lot of names or a lot of values out of an array. And, instead of just doing something like console log the name of our array and then doing something like this multiple of times and then changing this like this, what we could do is we could actually just use a for loop. And let's actually try to do that. So let's create a const, and I'm going to just set it to names, and it's going to be equal to random names that I've um, just copied, but it doesn't matter. You can obviously use different values and create a different variable. But yeah, right here, as you can see, we have 4 values, and we're gonna actually use the length of our values here. So if you have 6 values in your variable, that is, the for loop is gonna run 6 times. And to do that, we're actually gonna set our I to equal to 0, and I'll tell you why later. And we're gonna move the equal sign. And now what we're going to do is instead of the 5 here, we're going to write, I'm going to write names, and you're going to write the name of your array here. And then we're just going to add period length. And so now what it does is creates a variable that's equal to 0. And then it's going to run this code until it's bigger than the length of our array here. So it should run 4 times. And let's see if it works. So when I go back here, you can see that it still runs 4 times, but it starts from 0. And the reason I changed it to 0 was because we're actually going to use our I, and if it started from 1, then it would just start from printing Mike, and it would print out Jerry, Tom, and then it would print out unidentified or something else. That's because we don't have another value. So here's what we're going to do is we're going to write names, and then instead of our square brackets, we're actually going to put in I. And now when we go back, you can see that it's printing out all of our names here. And this is what I meant before. So if we set it to equal to 1, and then we would do something like this, then you could see that now it will just print out Mike, Jerry, Tom, and unidentified. And we can obviously do a lot of things in our for loop. So we can do something like this. Let's create a div here, and then I'm just gonna add a class of container like this. And now what we could do is we could actually go here, and we're actually gonna find our element here. So document.querySelector, and then it was container. And now all we could do is we can access or get our inner HTML, and then we can add um, our variables here. So let's say that we had multiple values that we wanted, or let's say that we wanted to have multiple elements and we wanted them to equal to certain values. And instead of creating a lot of elements, what we could do is just create some JavaScript or use some JavaScript code like this and make it a lot simpler. So we can do something like this. And now what we would do is just do this. And now let's take a look. So when I actually go back here, you can see that we have actually printed out all of our names here. And let's actually fix this. So going to be equal to 0. And let's see if it still works. Nope. Let's go back here. And that's because this has to go away. But yeah, so let's actually do something like this. So let's create H1s. And then here we're going to write our text. So that's going to be the names. And we're going to end it with our H1 like this. And now when we go back, you can see that we've created 4 elements or 4 H1s, and they're equal to our names. Hey guys, so this is going to be for this simple for loops tutorial. And if you want another tutorial on loops or a more advanced tutorial, then let me know in the comments down below. I'd like to see it if you like this, up to the channel for more content like this, and see you in the next video.